So you say that it's based on a true story, or on real events. What was it about this? I mean, he seems like a bit of a monster. What was it about this particular criminal that made you want to make the film?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. It's you say monster. You know, it was the aim for us to make a portrayal of a person, which who makes such gruesome crimes, and we want to invest it. We want to invest his personality, his psyche, and with the topic of self-abandonment, because Zingerle self-abandoned himself to be able to commit these crimes, and he told himself excuses to stay mental stable, and he says, I'm ill, the people are guilty, I had a bad youth, etc. And our female heroine, female character, she proves that all these excuses aren't true, and that he is a human, and he could have make another decision and not to commit these crimes.
Yeah. How much reading did you have to do into the Looking at Devil?
Yeah, we had quite a lot of sources, but we have in particular 2 books about these crimes, which are very detailed, with original sayings from him and quotes and pictures and everything. And a lot of the film is very close to these real documents and everything. As we have a scene where the female character Ida is making a photo, and in the end of the film you see that's the original photo, and also these quotes with the devil, and so it's real from him. And yeah, it was also a very difficult time in after the war in Italy and Austria and the people there, and it was a lot of research, and we also had to research the very sensitive topic of rape and sexual abuse, and therefore we contacted a person which who leads a self how you call it, an encounter group for sexual abuse in Salzburg, and she helped us to build the character of Ida authentic and to portray these 2 intense scenes authentic, and yeah.
Is it difficult when you're making a film about, you know, a real life murderer, like criminal like this? Is there a danger of romanticizing these people? Did you struggle with that while you're making the film, or was it?
Actually, some people have a problem with the film.
Oh, really?
Because in the first half, you know, you only see him as victim, and because he get caught, and etc. And they feel empathy with him, you know. And in the documents, all the psychic documents said that he was always conscious in his acts, which means that he was a person and he had the decision to do that or not. Although he had a bad youth and everything else, you know. And for us, it was very important that we don't make a flat movie like this is bad, this is good. So we try to show all the shades of gray, and in the end, it comes down to his decision and not to his excuses, and it comes down to his human weakness, and that is what Ida says to him and proves to him.
Especially if you think of trying to portray a person or a character in the most realistic way, you always have to think about how would this person be, how would he behave, how would he do that in that scene, and everything that we did was just to portray them as realistic as possible. And for that reason, he was a person. He did those crimes, but the documents were so clear and they were so precise on how he thought about himself and how everybody else surrounding him behaved. Also his wife, the carabinieri who caught him, and everybody else. So you had a very clear structure where you could draw your characters from. Of course, you always have to be a little bit artistically, and you have to always change a little bit. And we, most of the dialogue is, of course, not how it appeared in that very scene, because there were a lot of discussions around him and surrounding him, and some of the quotes were, of course, pushed in together so that they would make a dramatically structure. And so but after all, it was very much the same that he was how we portrayed him.
Yeah, we tried to be really authentic. Also in the movie, the interrogation room and at the police station, also the first picture of the movie, the cave, and so that's all real places where he had his interrogation and so on.
Oh wow.
And
of course locations that where he went.
Yes.
So it's real, the locations where, the same locations where he did those crimes, or where he has been brought to, and everything else, yes.
So you must have been aware just when you were making the film that it had the potential to be quite controversial. Did you prepare yourself for that?
Yes.
But how do you prepare yourself for that? I mean, you say that people empathize with them in the beginning, and it seems like
it can be, not everyone. But
yeah,
it can.
I'm sorry. Yeah, some people.
But still, it was intended to be that kind of way. We played with that.
That's what I was going to say, because if the journey of the film is forcing this monster essentially to recognize that he has no excuse for the things he's doing. You have to empathize with him in the beginning, because you go on that journey with him. I've done the thing I hate when people do when you throw a question, and it's more of a comment, really. Sorry about that. So you were aware that there's a potential controversy here?
Yes, and have you already seen it?
I've not seen it yet.
Okay. No. Yes, we are totally aware that it can be controversial, but as I said, in my films, there's always this aim for unprettified authenticity, and there's nothing to prettify, because that in real life, these crimes are even worse, and even uglier and more gruesome and everything, and so there. I don't have a good feeling when I prettify something like that.
Because it's all too easy to say that he's just a monster. It simplifies our human behavior. It simplifies our human psyche, and it's much more than this. And this is the most important thing that. We tend as humanity, we tend to say, well, this couldn't happen to us. This is just a monster, and it's not the thing.
Yes, because in real life, everyone has a little bit of dark side in him, and not as extreme as here. But that's the good thing, that the film starts a discussion and confronts people, provokes people to go in dialogue, and that's, I think, what films are here for.
Yeah. To pull away from the film, for our final question, you know what it's going to be. What advice would you have for budding filmmakers?
Yeah, I had a lot of good things, I think, written to Elle when we had to write the answers, but I hope I can remember. First of all, get really, really clear of what's the topic is you want to tell, and if you know that, research a lot, prepare a lot, it is said. Also, combined with before, you're allowed to fail, and don't aim for perfection everywhere, because if you aim always for perfection, then a lot of imperfect stuff will come. And the most important thing is make sacrifices for your dream, and be honest to yourself in your decisions and so on, and be brave.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.